Hank Marvin is an excellent guitarist, an innovator, and highly influential. Some of the biggest names have been influenced by Hank Marvin: George Harrison, Jeff Beck, and even Eric Clapton. But it's the post Hank Marvin people who are, they were influenced by his style. So their style comes from his style, or is quite astonishing. People like Mark Knopfler, Dave Gilmour, and Brian May. Their style is all coming out of Hank Marvin. I too am influenced by Hank Marvin. When I was 13, my father was watching Hank Marvin on television with my uncle. My father saw The Shadows live with Hank Marvin and Cliff Richard, and he loved Hank Marvin. So he summoned me out, and Hank Marvin was playing Cavatina, and my father said, "Get your guitar and play that." So the uncle that was sitting down with my father, his wife was Cillian Murphy's father's boss. So brought the guitar in, and I kind of knew the air of Cavatina, but I hadn't a clue about music because I'd never gotten a guitar lesson in my life, so I didn't have a clue, but I could play along a bit. So I played along with Cavatina, and my father was impressed. And next song was Ghost Riders in the Sky, and my father said, "Play that," and I played it, and he was incredibly impressed. You're not exactly a big hit with the girls, but you can play Hank Marvin. You're okay. The red guitar. My favourite album is Brilliant Trees by David Cillian. And on that album, every time I hear red guitar, I think of Hank Marvin. The first Stratocaster to come into the United Kingdom was bought by Cliff Richard for Hank Marvin, the iconic red guitar. I dream of that red guitar. Under the custodianship now since 1968 by Bruce Walsh. Bruce Walsh was the rhythm guitarist in The Shadows, and even though Cliff Richard owns it, Bruce has had it since 1968. The first chap, Stern's digression, if I may. From where I'm standing now, a good rugby player, good rugby kicker, with a placement kick, could kick the ball from my front garden into the back garden of where Rory Gallagher used to live. The first man to bring a Stratocaster into Ireland was a chap called Jim Conlon. He was a guitarist with the Royal Show Band in Waterford. Waterford, great county, great people. And he was into Buddy Holly and ordered a Sunburst Strat. But in the interim, whilst waiting for the Strat, he became enamoured by Hank Marvin and, of course, Hank's Red Strat. But he soldiered on, and he was in Cork for a gig with the Royal, and walked past Crowley's Music on McCurtain Street. Shout out to Michael Crowley. Michael Crowley was one of the greatest people in Cork City. Nurtured thousands upon thousands of musicians, including me. Thank you, Michael Crowley, and thank you to his family for perpetuating his great name. So Jim Conlon was walking past Crowley's, and what did he see in the window of Crowley's music shop? A red Strat. He went into Michael Crowley and said, "Michael, can you take the guitar from the window, please, and give me 10 minutes? And Michael said, Michael was a gentleman. "Yes, no problem, Jim." Took the guitar aside. Jim sprinted back to the tour bus, got his Sunburst Strat, ran back to Mick Crowley and said, "Mick, could we do a deal?" And Mick, being the gentleman he was, and such a great person, they worked out a deal. And Jim Conlon got the red Strat of his beloved Hank Marvin, and Michael Crowley put the Sunburst Strat in the window. And the very next day, a little kid came by, saw that Stratocaster in the window and bought it, and that kid was Rory Gallagher. Hank Marvin is absolutely one of the most influential guitarists. You wouldn't believe the people that were influenced by him, obviously including me. And, and one of the nicest people, not just in the music business, on the planet. Incredibly nice man. Affable, congenial, but also one of the greatest guitar players in history. Hank Marvin, thank you. And thank you very much for listening.